We got a tongue twister here, ladies and gentlemen. We got a tongue twister. How y'all doing today? Welcome back. I'm Johnny No Cash. You're listening to a brand new episode of Life with Johnny No Cash. And I just got to say before jumping in, it's been a while since the last episode, and I apologize for that. A lot has been going on. And regarding Vanlife, regarding life, regarding finances, regarding mental health, and I really want to dive into that today. Also, I really want to talk about the previous episode. Thanks so much for all the comments discussing those topics last episode, which is now probably going on 3 weeks ago. So everybody who contributed their thoughts, I really do appreciate that. It just helps, me and other people that are coming to the video see where other people are coming from. Because right now, it's just me talking to you and you guys listening, right? So if there's a dialogue in the comments section, I feel that at least we can open up the topics a lot more than just my point of view. So things have been going wild in the last little while, and I really want to dive into that. It's going to be a little bit of a serious episode. And to any van lifers or people that have been kind of considering this lifestyle, I highly recommend you stick around for this episode. I've got a lot of interesting things that I want to cover today. Not just that, I also have a story of loss. But that's the thing. Loss can be looked at as a really positive thing. Sometimes when doors close, other doors open, and that's exactly what I want to talk about. So, without further ado, thank you guys for subscribing, being a part of this, little project that I started almost 2 years ago. It really means a lot to me, and I just love when you guys send me messages asking when the next episode's coming out. So thank you so much for that. And like I said, without further ado, let's jump into today's episode, and I hope it doesn't go overboard. I might have to cut this up into 2 episodes. We'll see. But in the meantime, let's just have at it. Here we go. I'm living in a van playing Outlaw tunes. Life with Johnny No Cash. Smoking them smokes and drinking that booze. Life with Johnny No Cash. Where I go, how the fuck I'll know I'm off the grid on dusty roads. There ain't no better way of eating beans. All right, so I'm back, and I have been extremely absent over the last little while. I haven't really been on social media at all. I really haven't been posting any updates. I really haven't been on my phone much, and maybe it's because I have been kind of diving down the rabbit hole of YouTube of like how consumed our lives and how many hours we've been spending on our phones and on social media when we really don't get much gain out of it. So I've just kind of decided that, it was time to just take a bit of a step back. And I do appreciate everybody that was reaching out and seeing if I was okay. And I don't even think I responded to you. So I apologize for not even giving you an update on that. But sometimes, man, once you start texting, it doesn't fucking stop. And then the next thing you know, you're on your fucking phone for an hour, and there's an hour of your life, of your day gone. So I just wanted to let you guys know that everything is good. Everything's always good. And I'll tell you, I've changed so much over the last little while of looking at things in a positive light, even though a lot of fucking shitty things happen. I really have been trying to focus on the positives and the next days, because we all have shitty days. We all have these slumps that we go through, and it doesn't end there. And one of the things that I've been trying to, continually work on is my mental positivity. I don't even know if that's a fucking word, but it is today. And it's really helped, actually. I've connected with some of my closer kind of immediate circle of friends a lot more. Been able to express myself a lot freer, more freely. That's the English language for you. And it's really been beneficial for me. If you are watching this, and actually before I jump into this, if you are watching this, you're probably noticing that I'm in a brand new place. I'm in a fucking apartment. I'm not even in a van. But before I get into that, I do want to ask, because I actually pay a distributor every month to upload podcasts. For YouTube, as y'all know, I'm sure everyone's probably got a YouTube channel. It's free. You just need a Google account. But to be distributed on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, etc., there's a monthly fee that I need to pay. So I'm just curious. Like, do you guys tend to watch the episode, or do you tend to stream it on Spotify, Apple? Because, I mean, if most people are just doing the YouTube thing, ultimately you can rip the audio and listen to it on your phone or whatever at home. And that saves me 15 fucking bucks a month. But anyway, I have no problem paying the distributor fee. Not at all. I was just curious, like, what you guys seem to gravitate towards more so than the other. But that being said, yeah, I am actually house sitting. I'm downtown Vancouver. If you guys have been paying attention to the entirety of the podcast, you'll know when I went to LA, I went with my buddy Brad, who we went to college together, and he's actually in Mexico, and he politely asked me if I could house sit, and I aggressively said, fuck yeah, I need a goddamn shower. I need a fucking shower. I need a couch that I can actually like sprawl out on. There's a stove. I can cook a damn pizza. These are the little things in life that you sometimes take for granted, you know, and I've been living in a van for coming up to 2 years now. And those are some things that, you know, you have to sacrifice. I mean, sure, sometimes you find some incredibly souped up, pimped out fucking vans that have ovens and the whole night and showers and like running bathrooms and things like that. I don't have that. So I don't have that luxury, but it is just so nice to be able to have a shower as long as you want. I'm not in some fucking community center with some guy, you know, right outside the curtain, pacing back and forth, waiting for that hot water. So this has just been incredible. And it's great that I can set everything up here and bang out this podcast and maybe even another episode, because I've got a lot on my mind. A lot's been changing over the last little while. And as you know, I have been considering getting out of this van and getting into something a lot more livable. What I mean by that is just bigger living space, a space that I don't have to erect and tear down every single day. If you guys do know the layout of my van, I have to literally build the bed every day, every evening, and then in the morning I have to kind of collapse it. I'm not saying that it's a huge chore, but it is nice to just be able to fucking jump on a mattress and leave it. So over the last little while, I have been really considering these ideas and options of moving on. And that being said, this is a big one. And this is where I think I would love some feedback. I understand, and I'm saying this in the absolute most fucking humbling way. I understand that I've touched a few of you guys, like, not physically. I haven't touched anybody in a long time. It's neither here nor there. But I'm just saying I have affected some of you people with, I guess, maybe some inspiring things that I've done, whether it's, you know, packing up and living in a van and just kind of living off the grid. And I feel that there's a bit of pressure on that. Sometimes I think, well, what does my audience want from me? And that's extremely negative and toxic. So I got to stop thinking about these types of things. So what I'm getting at is I am really considering fucking getting a goddamn apartment. Yeah. This is really strange because I was really expecting and hoping that I'd be able to do this for a lot longer. And trust me, I can do this. It's just now that I'm a lot more stationary, I've been noticing that my creativity has been lacking. I don't have, like I said, like moments ago, I don't have the space to be able to do the things that I want to do in like the time frame. Like when you're creative, I'm sure 99.9% of my audience are creative people. And I can tell that when you're creative, you got to act on it. You got to fucking move. You know, this is like a snowball effect where if it slows down or stops, you're not moving forward. And with the setup I have, it is just near fucking impossible to have things accessible for the drop of a hat. As y'all know, I haven't fucking been releasing any music in God knows how long. I don't even remember the last time I've really released anything. And I could give you 1,000,001 excuses, but the main excuse is I just don't have the space. And by the time I set everything up, you know, sometimes the mojo has lost. Sometimes it's just kind of fucking gone. And I say to myself, well, that, you know, so much for that. You know, it's like the Seinfeld episode in The Condom, you know, well, yeah, it took too long and now it ain't working. So I've been really contemplating this shit, and it's terrifying because I don't want to live in a fucking apartment. And I'll tell you right now, I've been in this apartment for 2 nights, and already on the very first night I was here, I got 5 fucking complaints at 3 a.m. And then yesterday, the landlady came, called Brad and was like, yo, what the fuck is going on? I didn't think I was being super loud. Here I'm thinking, now that I have my own space, I can do what I want. I don't have to fucking worry about this, that, and the other thing. No, that's another thing. That's like reality was dawning on me that you do not have the freedom of living in an apartment. There's fucking curfew rules. There's like no smoking rules, like all this bullshit, all these fucking rules. And it's like, fuck you, man. This is my place. I should be able to do whatever the fuck I want. And not just that, but not everybody works 9 to 5. Not everyone's going to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I work nights. So when I get home, I want to have a fucking drink. And when I get home, I also wouldn't mind maybe putting on a fucking tune or two, maybe listening to it, watching a movie. Can you do that? No. It's fucked. So I'm absolutely fucking torn these days of like what to actually do. Like if you do a van or a trailer, at least you're sitting on cash. At least you're sitting on something that has value. But when you live in an apartment, you're sitting on nothing. Nothing. That cash that you paid, whether it's $1,500 a month or fuck in Vancouver, I think the average apartment is like $2,700 or some bullshit, astronomical price. That money's gone. Gone. You have nothing to show for it. Now, sure, you've got amenities, you got, you know, your fridge, you got heat, which you're paying for, right? I'm just absolutely fucking torn. And speaking of, like, the last episode that I released, the Keyboard Warriors, talking about the police officers, I swear to God, they must have had me tapped. They must have had my fucking van tapped in because I got 2 more knocks on the van since that last episode. I actually have a guy, and I think I might be able to insert this in the video episode because I was filming them. I had a guy taking photos of my van while I was parked on the side of the street, which had no parking signs. There's 150 fucking other trailers and camper vans that were parked in front and behind me. And this fucking guy's taking photos. And I got out and I'm still standing by what I was saying in the last episode, just regarding that I still have immense respect for law enforcement. They're just doing their jobs. You know, they're doing, like, I'd hate to be one of those fucking guys where it's like, today you got to kick a bunch of people out that can't afford an apartment out of like this industrial street where they're not bothering anybody. But anyway, I ended up getting out of the van and approaching him. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're taking photos of my van. And we ended up having this pretty decent conversation. He was saying, yeah, like, a lot of these people have been parked here for years. And I'm like, so? What the fuck, man? Like, what does it matter? And he's like, well, you know, we're getting complaints. And I'm like, from who? We're in a fucking industrial area. There's no residents around. Nobody's got generators pumping, you know? Like, what harm are these people doing? Clearly, let's be fucking brutally honest. If you're loaded, if you have a lot of money, having a motorhome would be fantastic, but ultimately having a home would be the most ideal thing. If you don't have to worry about money, if you don't have to worry about bills, let's be honest, it'd be sick to have your own fucking place that you could call home. None of these people have that. Like the housing market is just absolutely fucking, it's suicidal is what it is. I don't know how people are making it through, to be perfectly honest. Like, I don't get it. So I end up having a conversation with this guy, and he was nice. He was a little taken aback because like I came fucking storming out at him, and I was like, "What are you doing? What kind of photo? I see that you were taking photos of my license plate." And he was asking me questions like, "How long you been here?" And I said, "Dude, I fucking work, okay? I pay taxes for this fucking road and this light and that sign too. I'm not a fucking freeloading bum, okay? Now, I work at night. So yeah, you're going to see my van during the day because I'm sleeping. Not everybody lives at this fucking gridlock level that most people just assume. That, oh, we're up at 6 a.m. and we're all drinking coffee at the same time, reading the fucking paper, doing the crosswords. No, not everybody's like that. So I work nights, like late nights. I don't get back until like the sun's coming up. So I just told him, like, dude, like fucking lay off, okay? And he ended up saying, your van's actually pretty stealth. It's not like obvious that you've been staying here for a long period of time, unlike some of these other trailers. And I'm not throwing these guys under the bus. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm just saying that it is pretty obvious when somebody is like living there, when they've got fucking tarps kind of draped not only over the trailer itself, but like over their doors so they have a bit of an awning to the incredible view of the fucking ditch. I'm guaranteed everybody would love to live a much better life in a much better environment than that. But we can't. And that's just the fucking truth of the world. And, and one of the things that's been like on my mind so much and why I've been off social media so fucking much is like everyone's just showing their best sides. It's just you're just scrolling through success, happiness. It's all bullshit. And it's not fucking real. And I'm just like, okay, there's a lot of people that are struggling right now. There's a lot of people, myself included, that are trying to fucking work through some major kinks in life. Now, I'm not fucking just graduating university and have my whole life ahead of me. So I'm making these decisions pretty late in life, and it's terrifying. So, like I said in, I think a couple episodes ago, like I've been really contemplating whether I do the truck camper, which I think would be a sick fucking setup. Like it's big enough. You got the bed that kind of hovers over top of the roof area. You've got a bathroom, a small little kitchenette area. Like you could easily live in that much more comfortably than my van. My van is literally designed for off fucking grid, road tripping, going camping, that kind of shit. But now that I'm stationary and much more stationary, I need something that's more livable, something that's easier to comfortably live in during the day. And that's another thing is like, fuck, man, am I going to be able to do that in the city or near the city, even on the outskirts, without getting accosted all the fucking time? Like, that's 3 times that I had. No, I think I'm up to 4 times that bylaw officers and police officers have come up, knocked at my door, and sure, they had good intentions for the most part. For the most part, they had good intentions, but ultimately, they want you gone. You don't want that. You don't want to be sitting fucking like walking on eggshells every morning, wondering if somebody's going to be knocking at your door. It's just, and these are some things that are really, really confusing to me because I love van life. I have much more freedom in my van than I do in this fucking place. Sure, it's nice, but I've been here one night already and I already had major fucking complaints. Like I said, the landlady reamed me out. because I was too loud. And you can't smoke, you can't drink, you can't do nothing, you can't fucking listen to music past a certain time. There's all these fucking rules. With van life, you don't have that shit. However, you might be having somebody knocking at the door every single day. You might wake up to a ticket. You might wake up to, and it's your home. So if you decide to walk somewhere, your house is potential fucking up for grabs if somebody wants, right? So that's one of the reasons why I haven't really been online a lot. And it's because, yeah, I'm just feeling a lot of pressure. I'm feeling a lot of stress of like what the future holds. We are now coming into, like right now I'm in Vancouver. It's the beginning of March. It's becoming spring here. So I know that van life is going to start kind of blossoming again. It starts kind of boosting up around the springtime when a lot of people want to, you know, plan their summer trips, plan their summer adventures and shit like that, or just plan like the next chapter of their lives. So I need to like not only get on it, which I am. I've already shown the van actually to a potential buyer. It is listed online. I am actively trying to sell it. I just don't know what the fuck to do next. So I would absolutely love, even if you don't live in a van and you're just listening from the comfort of your own home and your couch or your car, and you have any suggestions. Here's a suggestion I thought of. Check this out. I was actually thinking about a trailer park. Now, I know you're probably snickering, but I was genuinely thinking, I was like, fuck, man, that's a great idea. I could buy a trailer for like $5,000, which is a pretty nice setup, like just a stationary trailer, park it on the plot of land. I'd have electricity, running water, and then I'd just buy a shitty beater to go to and from work. Sounds like a great idea on paper, doesn't it? Well, I looked into the shit, and apparently a fucking trailer park, the closest one to Vancouver is like 50 minutes. You're driving like a good chunk of fucking distance. And it was, I think at the lowest, it was $1,000 for a fucking, like a parking spot. $1,000 for a fucking, not even paved, not that you want it paved, but I'm just saying no work has literally been put in, a fucking post in the ground with like a fucking extension cord. That is $1,000. What the fuck is going on? Like my mind was blown. I was thinking, okay, $400 or whatever. Yeah, sure. You invest in, you know, a good trailer, something that doesn't leak, is big enough for, you know, to have some guests. That's another thing. My van is just too tiny. I can't even have fucking friends over. I have, and it's tight. It's a fucking tight squeeze. I'll tell you, man, it's a fucking tight ass squeeze. So, I mean, and even in the end, that's still a fucking better deal than forking out $2,500 for a fucking apartment in Vancouver, which I can't afford anyway. And I don't think anybody can. And if you can, fucking help some fucking people out. We're struggling here. Like that's a lot of money, you know? And like I said, well, that $1,000 would be gone. The plot of land, you know, you just pay it and it's gone. But at the same time, at least the trailer, you buy it for $5,000, maybe in 2 years, you might be able to get 4 for it. So at least you're still getting something back, right? So I would absolutely adore to hear any thoughts, any advice, any kind of ideas, there's no bad ideas, folks, at all. So if you're like, buy a fucking, like a boat and live on a fucking boat. I mean, that's not a bad idea too. Where I'm parked anyway is basically like I'm living on the water because the amount of transports that drive by every minute, it's basically rocks my van like I'm on the water anyway. So I wouldn't get seasick. I'm already fucking immune to that shit. So these are things, you know, it's tough. And I got to act fast too, because if I keep prolonging this, right now my van is worth the most money. It's at the top peak value because right now everyone's scrambling to do van life. Everyone's scrambling to get like a new motorhome and things like this for their summer trips. I need to get the shit on the fucking go now. So if anybody has any ideas, by all means, I'm totally all ears. And that doesn't mean that if I do decide to do apartment living or like normal life living, that doesn't mean that my lifestyle is going to get all of a sudden a lot less interesting. And I'm going to still continue the podcast. I might have to tweak, the intro song to be a little bit more accurate, but it doesn't mean that I would stop doing the podcast. I love doing the podcast. I do have to be in the right mood to do it. And that's what's so nice about doing this on my own and I'm not working for anybody, is if I'm not in the fucking mood, I don't do it. Right? Imagine having to force the shit out every week and like come up with shit to talk about. I mean, it would be great to have a team and like some ideas that are shot my way. Once again, if you guys have some topics you'd like me to cover, by all means, I'd definitely be interested in exercising those. But it's just been a wild one and very on the fence. Now I'm at 25 minutes here in the podcast. I might want to break this up into 2 episodes, maybe 3, because there's a few other things I really want to talk about. Number 1 is I just fucking saw Titanic in 3D. I got to talk about it. I don't give a shit what your fucking masculine opinion is. Titanic fucking rules. Fucking masterpiece. I'd love to do a short video on Titanic because I think it's one of those things. Yeah, sure, it's the highest growth. I'm already getting into it. I'll stop it here and I will do another podcast on Titanic. And another thing that I really wanted to talk about, I said it earlier in the episode where, I'm always constantly trying to look at things in a positive light. Well, something recently happened to me, a massive opportunity, was completely taken away from me without much of an explanation. I can talk about it in vague detail because I'm still under a non-disclosure agreement for a lot of money. So I can vaguely talk about it, but the reason I don't have to get into specific details, but it's interesting how when something really bad, and I'm not saying bad as in like detrimental to my fucking health. I'm just saying, man, I had my fucking hopes up for this and unfortunately it just did not happen. And most unfortunately is I don't know why. That's the hardest thing. That's the hardest fucking thing to swallow. That's the hardest pill. We all need explanations from fucking time to time, especially if you are a creator. You need some kind of feedback, not just yay or nay. So I'd really like to dive into that because once that kind of all wrapped up, literally 2 days later, the fucking axis shift and something incredible happened. So rather than beating myself up about it, rather than like kind of dwelling on it, I knew that because I had gone through such fucking bullshit with this, that something good was bound to happen, and it did. So that being said, I'll end this now just because I understand everyone's attention spans are at different levels. Some people are like, no, continue, man. And then some people are like, God damn, he's talking still. Let's get it on with. Fucking, so you know what? I've been kind of keeping my episodes between 20 and 30 minutes. So we're going to stop it there. And thanks so much for listening to me. Thanks so much for, being there for me. I know that you guys aren't physically here, but I know just even by seeing the numbers that people, you guys actually genuinely enjoy the content. And that it means a lot, especially when you're feeling down. So thank you all so much for your continued support. By all means, go onto the channel. There's tons of other episodes. If you're just listening to this for the first time now, or if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to send me a message. I don't know if I'll get back to you depending on how much I'm online these days. You can always email me though at lifewithjohnnynocash@gmail.com. I find that that's a little bit, I got a little bit of like buffer zone I don't like you don't see if I read your message or not. So by all means, send me a message, an email, old-fashioned shit, over at lifewithjohnnynocash@gmail.com. If you want to support the show, I've got links for everything down below, whether it's buying me a coffee or buying some merch, buying a record, buying shot glasses, whatever. Personally, if you're going to support me, it's always nice if you can get something in return. And if you think that the podcast is enough in return, well, cool. That means a lot too. So until next time, folks, thank you all so much for tuning in to this month's episode. You guys all stay dusty, and by all means, let me know in the comments, in the fucking emails or whatever, what your thoughts are on this. Am I maybe like fucking buckling too early? Should I tough it out a little bit more? Or should I just say, throw in the fucking towel and get back to what makes me click, which is a lot more creative content, whether it's music, podcasts, things like that, and just living a little bit more of a more structured life. So until next time, folks, thank you all so much. I'm Johnny No Cash, and you better stay dusty. I'm out. Titanic Blues. I'm living in a van playing Outlaw tunes. Life with Johnny No Cash. Smoking them smokes and drinking that booze. Life with Johnny No Cash. Where I go, how the fuck I'll know I'm off the grid on dusty roads. There ain't no better way of eating beans.